Presenting the life, works, and achievements of Robert Frost. Let's talk about his life. According to Britannica, Robert Frost was known for his depictions of rural New England life, his grasp of colloquial speech, and his poetry about ordinary people in everyday situations. Robert Lee Frost is a 20th century American poet born on March 26, 1874 in San Francisco, California, and the son of a journalist who had his career flourish later in his life. He grew up in a city and had his first poem published in Lawrence High School, Massachusetts, his high school's magazine. He shared valedictorian honors with Eleanor Miriam White, who later became his wife. Frost attended Dartmouth College for 2 months, but returned home to work at countless unrewarding jobs. Then he achieved his first professionally published poem, entitled My Butterfly, an Elegy, in 1894. Apparently, this piece was about mourning over the death of the butterfly. Some assumed that it was about the death of his daughter, but he still has no child by that time. He sold it for $15, which is $443 today, to a weekly literary journal, The Independent. With that accomplishment, he proposed to Eleanor White, but got rejected because she wants to finish her studies first. Until December 19 of 1895, they were married at last. Eleanor and Robert Frost had 6 children, but unfortunately, 2 of them died early. He studied at Harvard University, but again, had to drop out after 2 years because of an illness. In 1900s, his grandfather bought him a land in New Hampshire where he then managed a poultry. His time spent there made him acquire his poetic persona of New England rural sage and started writing several sonnets. However, publishers did not show a great interest in his works. In 1911, Robert and his family moved to London with hopes of finding more opportunities to publish his works. It happened that he was able to publish his first book of sonnets entitled A Boy's Will in 1913, followed by North of Boston after a year. He became famous in the US because of Amy Lowell, a poet who brought his works to America when he was still in England. From then, he and his works became known and many magazines wanted to publish it. And although his career has started from then, and even after he had bought a farm at New Hampshire, he still had to work as a part-time teacher aside from farming and writing poetry. His passion in writing has made him one of his generation's renowned author and kept receiving prestigious awards with his amazing works. He died in January 1963 due to prostate surgery. And one thing is for sure, until death he do art. Written in his epitaph is the last line from his poem The Lesson for Today that said, I had a lover's quarrel with the world. Robert Frost had left the world with such a legacy. Now, let's proceed to his works, and I will be presenting 6 of his famous pieces. And that includes Nothing Gold Can Stay, published in 1923. This poem evokes the belief that nothing good can last forever. Fire and Ice on 1920, a short 9-line poem that holds a grave meaning, discussing that there is more than enough of man's unsatiable greed, which is harmful for the human race. Birches in 1915, 59 lines in iambic parameter that resonates the past, present, and future on the branches of the birch tree itself. Mending Wall was published on 1914. It is about 2 neighbors separated by a wall that is often tumbled by varying forces. One of them favors the wall, whereas the other cannot reason why the wall is necessary. So it is centered around social division. Next is Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening in 1923. This is probably the most read poem by Frost and the most loved. It is all about departure and freedom. Last but not the least is The Road Not Taken, published in 1915. This most famous work of Frost describes life's journey and how we face choices in every step of the way. Well, it was written as a joke for Frost's friend Edward Thomas. There was this time where they were hiking and had trouble choosing which trail to follow, and that is the behind of the birth of this masterpiece. And now, the awards. Presented on the screen are just some of the awards he had. Frost is the only poet to receive 4 Pulitzer Prize for poetry. He had also been nominated for the Nobel Prize in Literature not only once nor twice, but 31 times. No living poet has written so well about the actions of an ordinary man but Robert Frost, said the critic Randall Jarrell.